Shalom, Holy Blossom. Today is Remembrance Day. We paused for a moment of silence to remember the fallen soldiers of this country and to ask God to watch over and protect those in the Canadian Armed Forces today. And tomorrow morning, we will call 2 young veterans to the Torah for an aliyah so that we can honor them and their service. Tonight and tomorrow, we'll also, just before Kaddish, recite the names of the 24 congregants from Holy Blossom Temple who served during World War I or World War II and paid the ultimate price and made the ultimate sacrifice. Remembrance Day is a time to reflect on all that was protected by them and to reflect on the responsibilities that we have to carry on their good work, to protect our precious freedom, to protect our fragile democracy. And that is true in this good country as it is true in all good countries. I'd like to share with you this from the Jewish War Veterans of Canada, some statistics that you might not know but might surprise you and make you proud of the Jewish contributions to the Canadian Armed Forces. Jews have served in many of the wars fought by Canada both before and after Confederation. 4,000 Canadian Jews enlisted in the various armed branches of the Canadian Forces in the First World War. Over 100 were killed and 84 were decorated for bravery and meritorious service. It is neither commonly known nor appreciated that during the Second World War, out of a total population of Jewish Canadians numbering some 167,000 men, women, and children, over 18,000 served in one or more of the branches of the Canadian Armed Services. Of that number, 423 sacrificed their lives. This, no doubt, was one of the greatest per capita contributions of any ethnic or religious group in Canada. And I remember hearing from some of that generation of how eager they were to put on the uniform and how proud they were to represent Canada overseas and to fight against Nazi tyranny. In this week's Torah portion, we have verse 19 of chapter 18, where it says the following. And Nechama Leibovich says that this verse is of supreme importance. And that's rare that she would use that kind of language, to single out one verse to say, notice this one. This verse is of supreme importance out of the entire book of Genesis. God says, "For I have selected Abraham so that he may teach his children and those who come after him to keep the way of the eternal God, doing what is right and just, doing what is tzedek umishpat, tzedakah umishpat, so that the Eternal may fulfill for Abraham all that has been promised to him." So, what makes this verse of supreme importance? Certainly, the Jewish people are not the only ones who can pursue tzedakah umishpat, righteousness and justice. But we have to look at the context of this verse. It comes in the very dramatic tale of the 2 cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, which were overrun by lawlessness and violence and hatred. Tyranny was ruling the day in these 2 cities, these 2 great civilizations. And Abraham steps forward to do 2 things, at least 2 things. One is he finds his voice to pray, to plead, and to negotiate with God. And he does that on behalf of total strangers. He does that on behalf of people that he knew to be wicked, and nevertheless, he rose to their defense, simply because they were human. What else did Abraham learn through this exercise of defending Sodom and Gomorrah? He learned that there was depth to his faith that demanded something of him in the here and now, that it wasn't only a single relationship with God that he could enjoy, but that because of his faith in God, he was duty-bound to do his part to defend humanity from itself, to protect humanity from the worst of humanity. And so the question I ask is, which direction did it go in? Was it Abraham's faith that moved him to deeds of justice, or was it his justice seeker kind of self that led to his faith? And furthermore, which was it for our veterans? Which is it for our veterans today, for those who are serving, men and women in the Canadian Armed Forces? Is it that they are justice seekers and then they put on the uniform and bravely go overseas and in the darkest moments might then and there discover their faith? Or was it, like I know for some in the congregation, an act of faith? Because they were faithful to their God and to their people, they felt duty-bound to go and do their best to perform those acts of righteousness and justice. And which is it for us? Does your faith prompt deeds of justice? Do your deeds of justice lead you to a deeper and enriched faith? In the Talmud, it is written that the descendants of Abraham can be marked by 3 character traits. Now, this is not to say that we're the only ones with these character traits, God forbid, but that there is something about our sacred inheritance through the line of Abraham that makes us uniquely bound and qualified to pursue these 3 character traits, to fulfill our potential in these 3 ways. And they might surprise you. Faith is not on the short list. What are the 3 character traits of the Jewish people? 1, a capacity for kindness. 2, a sense of shame. And 3, the commitment to doing tzedakah umishpat, to doing what is right and what is just. So let it be for us as it is for our ancestors, as it was for our veterans, as it was for Avraham Avinu, for Abraham, our patriarch. Shabbat Shalom.